Hi, today the topic of our lecture is fallacies and type of common fallacies, in which we will see that why we study fallacies in philosophy and critical thinking, what are the meaning of this, and what are the few common types of fallacies in this lecture. As we know that in our daily life, personal or professional life, when we do some argument or examine or other people's argument, we need to aware of possible fallacies. What are the fallacies? Are like misconception, mistaken beliefs, misbeliefs, delusions, or false notions. Uh, so it is important to study fallacies so we can avoid them in the when we make the argument. Studying fallacies also provide us with the foundation for evaluating or critiquing other arguments as well. So what we do, why we study fallacies, that we will not use misconceptions, mistakes, or misbelief or delusions or false notion when we are making arguments about something, or as well as we can deduct the uh, our opponent when opponent is making the argument, so we can catch that fallacies and make our argument more valid. So as in the previous slide I explained that I just mentioned fallacies, and what is fallacy is, it is basically a mistaken belief, especially one based on unsound arguments. So we have already discussed what is unsound arguments in previous lectures. Other words for fallacies are misconception, mistaken belief, misbelief, delusion, and false notions. So these are the few of the synonym of the fallacies when we check in the dictionary. So let's discuss that too. Let's see the meaning of these words which we are used to define the fallacies. Like misconception is a view or opinion that is incorrect because based on the faulty thinking and understanding. Basically, it is our misunderstanding about something which is called misconception. So this is maybe not deliberately, but sometimes we conceive the things wrongly or the meaning of something. Then mistaken belief are truly mistaken or irrational because they fly in the face of reality. So these are mistaken mean we are doing some mistake uh, and we become irrational, and because these beliefs are against the on the face of the reality, apparently obviously these are looking against the reality. Then misbelief, a wrong or false belief or opinion. So it is like we are giving some wrong opinion about something, so that's called disbelief. Then delusion is like illusion, and disillusion, delusion mean defined as the fixed and false belief that conflict with the reality. And sometimes these all words are using interchangeably, sometime in common language. Then false notion is a deceptive, misleading conception of or a belief about something. So we have deceptive or misleading things which is leading towards something wrong calculation. So these are the simple meanings of the words which we use to define the fallacies. So I add this slide in that so you understand the meaning of these things. So after explaining the meaning of different words which we use for the fallacies, let's now define the fallacies. A fallacy is the use of invalid or otherwise faulty reasoning or wrong moves in construction of an argument. So in philosophy, we define the fallacies like use of invalid or otherwise faulty reason or wrong moves in construction of an argument. When we do arguments, we use invalid or wrong reasoning to make our argument. Say fallacious argument may be deceptive by appearing to be better than it is. Sometimes people when they argue and they use fallacies, it's on the face of it, it looks very appear very better than even real life. So when some people lie so good that it looks better than the truth. After defining the fallacies in detail, let's see what are the some types of common fallacies are which are used in the argument. As we have discussed, fallacies are mistaken belief based on unsound arguments. We already defined what is unsound arguments in the previous lectures. They derived from reasoning that is logically incorrect, thus undermining an argument's validity. So because they are logically not right, so they undermine the validity of an argument. There are many different type of fallacies and their variations are almost endless. So there are too many types of fallacies are there when people argue, but and there have many variation of endless variation of all these fallacies, but given their extensive nature, here is a list of some common fallacies, so you will be able to develop sound calculation yourself and quickly identify fallacies in others writing and speeches. And also if you are using yourself, so you will be avoid those arguments which are logically incorrect or undermine your arguments validity. So let's discuss some types of common fallacies which people use. So let's start with discussing or identifying the common types of fallacies. There are many, but few of them is here we are going to discuss today. Appeal to authority, appeal to ignorance, appeal to pity, begging the question, false dilemma, red herring, and slippery slopes, plus straw men fallacies, then sweeping generalizations, then ad hominem, and then bandwagon, and then come hoc ergo propter hoc, and then the last one is the post hoc ergo propter hoc. So these are the few of the common types or informal fallacies. So we are going to discuss one by one in the next part of our lecture. So the first one is the appeal to authority. Appeal to authority means insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority or expert on the issue said it was true. So without any supporting evidence offered. So also see the appeal to the false authority. So this is another name of the appeal to authority is the appeal to false authority. Sometimes even authority is false, or sometimes the authority is false. So this way you have to see that this is the fallacy of appeal to authority. Next is appeal to ignorance. This means that this logically fallacy occurs when someone claims that a calculation must be true if it has been proven false. So or false if it hasn't been proven true. So if you, in other words, if you don't know the exact truth, so the truth must be the true. So you cannot prove that you are innocent, therefore you are guilty to me. So when you don't know about things, then you accept something, and it is called appeal to ignorance. Next is an appeal to pity. It is a fallacy in which someone tries to win support for an argument or idea by exploiting his or her opponent's feeling of pity. So sometimes you make yourself so pitiful that other party has to accept your ideas, your argument or what you are saying. So appeal to pity fallacy is like example we see every day, even in our classes. When students come and they don't have, they don't do the assignment, or they didn't do proper assignment, then they say someone has died or something happened or accident happened, or they make a pitiful face that we have to withdraw our argument or withdraw our claim. So this is called an appeal to pity. Next fallacy is the begging the question. So what is the definition? Begging the question fallacy occurs when the calculation is assumed to be true in the argument's premises. So this is sometimes called circular question, and then example is like murder is always morally wrong, therefore abortion is morally wrong. So if killing something someone is wrong, then it's also. So it is called begging the question. Let's see why we call it begging the question. Okay, begs the question does not mean that raises or poses a question that needs to be answered, but it does mean that make an assumption and does not ask if the assumption is correct, so avoids asking the important questions. So don't sound, it doesn't sound stupid? Yes, it is. So you assume something, but you don't do the question to find out that your assumption is right or your assumption is wrong. So that way when you are making assumption and then you are thinking that this is the right things, is become a fallacy, which is called begs the question. So any assumption which is asking for a question is and you are not asking that question is becoming a fallacy. Like I said, it is, this other name is also circular reasoning. So what is circular reasoning? If you see it in the picture, if A then B and if B then A. So we are, our reason is also in calculation and our calculation is also in the reason. So if A then B and if B then A. So we are, it is becoming like circular. We are reasoning in the circular. So A is B and then B A and then A B and then B A. So it's becoming like in a circular argument. False dilemma is when this is a fallacy occur when a limited number of choices, outcome or views are presenting as the only option when in fact more options exist. So when you are arguing, you are just giving two options to other people, and even though there are more options are available, so you are limiting their options. So this is called false dilemma. We know the meaning of dilemma is like when we are more than one option available to do something. So false dilemma means when you are not giving all the options to the people. For example is you are either with us or against us. So maybe there's another option available, but you are not giving option to any people. Either you are with us or you are against us. So maybe he is not with you, but maybe he is not against you. So but when you are saying like this, is becoming like a false dilemma. Okay, the next false normal common fallacy is red herring. So what is this red herring? Is this fallacy consists in diverting attention from the real issue by focusing instead on another issue having only a surface relevance to the first. So when someone is arguing, we start another, we are answering that argument with another things which is not relevant to the first the issue we are talking. Like there's a, if you can see in the picture that daughter is asking mom, I want that toys, but what mom is saying, honey, let's rush home, yummy treat for you. So they are taking, mother is trying to distract her daughter's attention from toys to the home or to the food. So this is called red herring. So mother trying to divert her kids' attention. So the next one is the slippery slope. You know the meaning of slope, and you need a slippery. If then there is a slope downward, and it is also slippery. So a slippery slope argument in logic, critical thinking, political rhetoric, and case law is an argument in which a party asserts that a relatively small first step lead to a claim of related events culminating in some significant effect. For example, when you slip, you may be a small slip, but if you are on the slope, it slips can become very disaster in a in an accident or something. So this is, they are using this same argument in another thing, that if there is something happen, it could happen more. For example, in political rhetoric, when political parties are also promising that, see, we started this, we put the, you see, they're always putting the, opening stone, and they're saying, oh, we are going to make this dam, or we are going to make this road or this thing. So they basically they are using the slippery slope idea. So definition is, what is the definition here? Is a series of events that is hard to stop once start and is likely to become worse. So example is he has been caught cheating and stealing several times. He is heading down a slippery slope toward a life of crime. So if he or she is doing a smaller, stealing or cheating, then we can predict or we can say, okay, it is she or she is on slippery slope. So they will becoming a big criminal. So this is called slippery slope. Okay, the next one is the straw man fallacies. What is straw man fallacies? Occurs when someone takes another person's argument or point, distort it or exaggerate it in some kind of extreme way, and then attacks the extreme distortion as if that is really the claim that first person is making. So what is that? Straw man is the argument simply ignores a person's actual position and substitute a distorted, exaggerated or misrepresentative version of this position. So we can give the example. For example, one is saying that we are supposed to examine our school budget, so cut the wastes. But the other opponent is saying, oh, this guy wants to starve our children to death. So actually, the first person is saying that we have to save the waste, by checking the budget. But otherwise, is taking a extreme position of the argument and saying that maybe this is school budget. So he's saying that no, this person or this what they are proposing is that they are trying to kill our children by starving them to hunger. Okay, why we call straw man's fallacy? Because this is a common but false etymology is that is referred to men who stood outside courthouse with a straw in their shoes to signal their willingness to a false witness. And it is still going on. If you go to our courts, we can see that there are some people who are there from villages or from somewhere, so they are ready to give any witness to heavy evidence to you, and they're selling their services. So same thing is happening. So they are saying it can trace back to 1620s. So easily reputed the imaginary opponent in a argument. So if you want to give argument or to give evidence or something, there's always you can find a straw man sitting outside the courts. So for this reason is called straw man's fallacy. The next is a sweeping generalization. As it appears from its name, these fallacies occur when a very broad application is applied to a single premises. If you just have a one or two evidence, but you are saying that whole thing is bad, like you say, the guy who has a broom in his hand and is saying all brooms are, and that broom is broken, so you're saying all brooms are good, but the other is saying don't give a general sweeping statement that if one thing is broken doesn't mean everything is wrong. Next is the endemonium. In this fallacy occurs when instead of addressing someone's argument or position, you irrelevantly attack the person or some aspects of person who is making this argument. So during the argument, instead of you are replying his or her argument with the argument, you try to attack on the person who's making this argument, and this is sometimes also called abusive fallacies. And we can see around when we don't like someone or we cannot answer on rationally, we start to attacking them. So abusive attack against someone making an argument instead of addressing the argument itself. So we should argue with the relevant facts and sound logic. You should grow a brain before opening your mouth. So one is saying that we should when we argue, we give the relevant reasoning or logic. But other is saying, he's attacking on his intelligence. So this is the way, you distract the other person's argument. So, bandwagon fallacies, it is called, we always use it in English. So when a lot of people are doing one thing, we are saying, okay, if a lot of people are doing it, must be right. So it is also sometimes called the appeal to common belief or appeal to the masses, because it is always about getting people to do or think something because everyone else is doing it or everything else thinks like this. like I explained to you. If someone and we have a lot of things. If someone is doing something, oh, we say, oh, okay, he's good, so we start doing that thing. If someone is not doing, we don't. So without thinking or without thinking rationally. Okay, the next fallacy is called cum hoc ergo propter hoc. This is a Latin phrase. This phrase is in Latin language. So these fallacies occur when it is assumed that because two things occur together, they must be related. Basically, it is also like superstitious we are. Sometimes we think that when these things both this happen, they both happen together. Cum hoc ergo propter hoc is Latin for with this, therefore because of this. With this is another thing happen also. So in other words, events A and B happen at the same time, therefore A cause B or B cause A. So example, the rooster crows every morning, therefore the rooster causes the sun to rise or come up. So this is kind of thing that these things happen together. So if one thing is happening properly, second thing will be happen. So this is another kind of fallacies we have without finding any logical reason why these things are happening together. The last one is the post hoc ergo propter hoc. That is like something happening after another thing. When it is assumed that because one thing happened after another thing, it must have occurred as it resulted of it. This is also kind of superstitious because we think if this thing happened, this thing will happen also. So this is the way we sometimes argue or sometimes we give the reasoning. So the example is for one one girl is saying that of course there are no tigers here. So the other one is say that is because I left my entire tiger charm over here. So I left my charm here for this reason. Nothing is here. So some we say that this because this thing happened for this reason this didn't happen, or this didn't happen so this is happened. So this is the way we argue sometimes. So these were like simple, common or informal fallacies which we have discussed in this lecture today. Please, if you have any question, I try to explain it in detail, with giving also the pictorial and everything. So if still you have any question, please feel free to ask me the questions. So I will be glad to answer your all questions. Thank you.